news, President Muhammadu Buhari extends the mandate of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 till 2021. Troops rescue 10 kidnapped persons by bandits in Zamfara State. Defense headquarters to investigate allegations of extortions by soldiers in Borno State. Thank you for joining us on the news at this time. I am Oyi Adekunle. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has told the Nigerian Senate that 156 billion naira is required to vaccinate 70% of the Nigerian population in 2021. Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shoaib, stated this during a meeting with the PTF and the leadership of the Senate on vaccine acquisition and administration on Nigerians on Monday. The Minister for Health, Osage Hanire, also said some countries have secured vaccines right up to 5 times their population and wants Nigeria to address the availability of the vaccine before availability is considered. Atinuke Nuke has more in this report.
As Nigeria expects to receive its first doses of COVID-19 vaccine in January, there are growing concerns as to the affordability and availability of the vaccine for the average Nigerian. Although the federal government is in bilateral discussions with countries producing the vaccine, there are warnings of a second wave of COVID-19 infections in circulation. At the meeting with the leadership of the Senate and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 Control on Monday, the Executive Director of National Public Health Care Development Agency says about 156 billion naira is required to vaccinate 70% of the Nigerian population in 2021, while there will be provision for another 220.9 billion naira in the 2021 budget to cover for 2022.
We plan to reach 70% as earlier mentioned by the end of 2022. For 2021, Gavi eligible countries like Nigeria will be supported through the COVAX AMC facility in the procurement of 20% for the total population. Any additional vaccine requirements above 20% of the COVAX facility will be funded by Nigeria at an average price of $4 per dose, given that the vaccines that we have now require 2 doses. That will be $8 per person for the 2 doses.
The Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, raised concerns about fake COVID-19 vaccines already on the prowl. She says the country risks bigger disaster if the due procedure is not followed regarding getting the vaccine.
We have to be very careful which ones we're going to get, because we can wipe out a whole community with bad vaccine. You can create another disease with a bad vaccine. So it is not just the quality that we are looking at, we are looking for the safety, we are looking for the efficacy.
Lawmakers also raised concerns in terms of modality put in place for the prevention of the vaccine and possible lapses that may follow.
We have to have a presentation on the infrastructure that is needed, on what is available for this COVID vaccine to be acquired, and then Nigerians vaccinated.
Because of the sensitivity of this exercise, we want you to move beyond the ordinary. Don't just regulate what comes in, but the movement, we want you involved to let us know that when this is being moved from the holding point to the various states, take a look at it again to ensure that what gets to the end destination in the states also meets with the NAFDAC approval.
I want us to go back again, take a critical look at even the epidemiological factors that so far we have seen about this thing in our country should guide us. Because it's not just vaccinating because you just want to vaccinate. You want to vaccinate so that you can get effectiveness in delivery of these vaccines to your people.
There is currently a global scramble of rights to vaccines and first access to the vaccine. The meeting was to discuss the COVID-19 vaccine and how it will be administered, funded, and distributed across the country, and how it will reach Nigerians was also part of the discussion. It is hoped that implementable resolutions are reached so as to ensure Nigerians get free and easy access to the COVID-19 vaccines when it arrives. From the National Assembly in Abuja, Atinuke Nuke, TV360 News.
And in security matters, troops of Operation Hadarin Daji have again rescued 10 kidnapped victims from bandits at Yenyewa village in Zamfara following a tip-off. The coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja. Enenche said the troops on December 20th responded to a distress call on bandits' activities in the area and engaged them accordingly. He said troops overwhelmed the criminals with superior firepower and forced them to abandon 10 kidnapped victims before fleeing in disarray. The rescued persons have now been reunited with their families. Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters has also promised to investigate the allegation that troops of Operation Lafia Dole were involved in extortion at checkpoints on major roads in Borno State. Governor of Borno, Babagana Zulum, had on Monday alleged that security personnel, including soldiers, were collecting monies from travelers on major roads in the state to the detriment of their duties. The coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, in a statement said the armed forces of Nigeria have internal mechanisms to check erring personnel and sanction them appropriately. Enenche added that reported cases of extortion from the public had always been investigated and given the desired attention. He, however, faulted what he described as an open-air accusation to tag gallant Nigerian army personnel as extortionists in checkpoints in Borno State. And the federal government says it may consider the closure of borders again if any issues arise after studying activities at 4 of the nation's land borders, which were recently reopened last week. Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, made this known on Tuesday on a television program in Lagos. Shehu aired his disapproval over what he described as uncooperative attitude of some Nigeria's neighbors, which he claims are fueling the insecurity in the country. The federal government had on December 16th ordered the immediate reopening of the Seme border in Lagos State, Ilela border in Sokoto State, Maigatari border in Jigawa State, and Umfon border in Cross River State. Recall that Nigeria had in August last year closed its land borders to curtail illegal importation of drugs, small arms, and agricultural products into the country from neighboring West African countries. A group, True Nigerian Patriots Initiative, has urged the Nigerians to keep faith in President Muhammadu Buhari as he looks to put Nigeria on a better footing. This call was made during a media conference in Abuja, where the group made several resolutions on how best to achieve the best of governance for the country. Coordinator of the group, Athanasius Okon, suggested that political appointees with low performance level should be removed from their seats, while the performing bunch should be adequately rewarded.
There is no president of any people's-friendly and civilized nation can administer the affairs of state and governance alone, else he or she will easily wear out within a short spare of time. As the principle of democracy so emphasized, governance of the people, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Therefore, the need for division of labor is highly supported and cherished, as evident even amongst mature democracies. Mr. President should endeavor to apply the principle of reward system in his government. Those that fail in their responsibilities as appointees of government should henceforth be sacked to serve as deterrent to others. Those who are doing well should be encouraged more. There is every reason to believe that appointees of government should rather be kept on their toes to perform in line with Mr. President's ideology and aspiration for Nigerians. There is no hard fact about this.
The federal government has presented materials to 894 households in Emerio Cave Kingdom in Eastern Obolo local government area of Akwa Ibom State to help them cushion the effects of the flood which ravaged the area. The materials, which include bags of rice, beans, cartons of tomatoes, pasta, bags of salt and other food items, were presented to the residents. Akwa Ibom State Deputy Governor Moses Ekpo, while making the presentation to victims, explains that his office received a distress call from the community in September concerning flood which submerged the entire community, occasioning loss of lives. According to him, the state had to promptly embark on an on-the-spot assessment of the situation and reported to the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA for assistance. The Deputy Governor said the materials would go a long way to help ease the effect of the disaster and give the victims a new lease of life. Well, we'll take a short break here, but still to come, President Buhari extends the mandate of Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 till 2021. Details after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Glad to have you back. Here is a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. Troops of Operation Hadarin Daji have again rescued 10 kidnapped victims from bandits at Yanyawa village in Zamfara following a tip-off. The coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja. The rescued persons have since been reunited with their families. We also told you that the Defense Headquarters has promised to investigate the allegations that troops of Operation Lafia Dole were involved in extortion at checkpoints on major roads in Borno State. Governor of the state, Babagana Zulum, had on Monday alleged that security personnel, including soldiers, were collecting money from travelers on major roads in the state to the detriment of their duties. Nigeria's daily coronavirus infections fell for a second day after over 2 weeks of high numbers across the country. 356 new cases were confirmed, one of the lowest recorded this month. The new infections were reported from 15 states, with the FCT leading with 79 cases, followed by Lagos with 59 and Kaduna with 56 cases. The new infections took the country's total caseload to 78,790. According to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, there were 6 additional deaths in the last 24 hours, raising the overall casualty in the nation since the start of the pandemic to 1,227. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has extended the mandate of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 till March 2021. The extension comes after the country recorded a second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. President Buhari said the nation cannot afford to lose the gains of the past months in the fight against the pandemic. Chairman of the PTF and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, alongside other members, submitted their reports to the President at the Council Chamber at Presidential Villa in Abuja. The tenure of the PTF expired this December after the extension for 3 months from an initial 3 months mandate. PTF Chairman Mustafa also highlights new guidelines to contain the pandemic.
We would be presenting to the states our advisories with regards to to consider closing all bars, nightclubs, pubs, and event centers and recreational venues for the next 5 weeks. Close all the restaurants except those providing services to hotel residents, takeaways, home deliveries, and drive-in shall also be expected to be closed. Restrict all informal and formal festivity events, including weddings, conferences, congresses, office parties, concerts, seminars, sporting activities, end-of-year events, to a number of 50 persons, as much as they can. Limit all gatherings linked to religious events to less than 50% capacity of the facility of use, during which physical distancing, mandatory use of face masks shall be strictly enforced. All government staff on grade level 12 and below are to work from home for the next 5 weeks. We would enforce that at the national level because the head of service of the Federation will be issuing out notices to this. As an advisory, we're also asking the states to consider that so that they can decongest their offices and reduce the volume of people coming to work so that we can effectively interrupt the spread and transmission that is taking place now. Please, all non-essential travels, both domestic and international, during the holiday season are seriously being discouraged. Looking at what is happening globally, we need to take a cue from that.
The federal government says it will take action against over 20,000 Nigerians who refuse to take the COVID-19 test. The Nigerians who returned to the country and paid for the COVID-19 test refused to show up at the due date given to them by the government.
20,000 plus have paid for the test, they have arrived, and they have not bothered to show up for the test, even after the period assigned for them to obligate themselves for the test had been reached. The Presidential Task Force has concluded arrangements with the Nigerian Immigration Service to impose sanctions on these defaulters for breaching the public health protocols within the ambit of the law. We gave adequate time for them to respond and conduct the test. Calls were made personally by the appropriate officers to reach out to them, and having exhausted all these persuasive processes, we have secured approval to work with the Immigration Service so that the appropriate sanctions would be placed on these defaulters.
The Senate has doubted the ability of the Federal Ministry of Health to effectively store and distribute the COVID-19 vaccines when they arrive in the country. Senate President Ahmed Lawan and his colleagues expressed the reservation when its leadership met with the Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, and his counterpart in the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed. Lawan said the National Assembly was ready to support the funding of adequate vaccines to save Nigerians, but that the officials of the Ministry of Health must convince the Parliament that they had adequate facilities and manpower to protect the preventive substance. We will take a short break here and return with business updates. Don't go away.
On Digi360, we don't just ask the questions.
What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it?
We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action.
People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country?
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
Digi360, providing clarity to issues.
Welcome back. Let's now join Jerusha Marebu for the latest updates in the world of business. Jerusha, what do you have for us?
Nigeria has moved a step closer to achieving its dream of full utilization of the nation's abundant gas potentials. President Buhari made this remark at the virtual commissioning of the Integrated Gas Handling Facility and the LPG progressing and dispensing plant built and operated by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company in Oredo, Edo State. Nigerian Petroleum Development CO's MPDC Integrated Gas Handling Facility at Oredo. According to the president, the field produces around 10,000 barrels per day of oil.
The Oredo Integrated Gas Handling Facility and its associated natural gas liquids depot will be delivering 240,000 metric tons of commercial-grade liquefied petroleum gas and propane. It will also deliver about 205 million standard cubic feet per day of lean gas to the domestic market. In addition to its import institution benefits, that brings us a step closer to self-sufficiency in liquefied petroleum gas production and also supporting the growth of small and medium enterprises in the host communities. This project will create hundreds of direct and indirect employment opportunities for our teeming youth, both skilled and unskilled. The Integrated Gas Handling Facility project will also support the ongoing drive towards providing alternative auto fuel under the Natural Gas Expansion Program initiative.
We'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. Do stay with us. The Nigerian Stock Exchange experienced gains today, although market sentiment breath closed negative with 22 losers against 15 gainers. Now, the increased number of negative equities was impacted by cautious buying by investors, but the gains recorded was from buying interest in Dangote Cement and 14 other equities. Specifically, the all-share index appreciated by 4.5% to close at 37,893. Also, market capitalization rose to 19.805 trillion compared with 19.570 trillion achieved on Monday. We take a look at our gainers today, where we see Dangote Cement PLC, Africa's biggest cement producer, topped the gainers list for the second consecutive time on a full beat after yesterday's 10% gain to close today with a 14 naira 60 kobo gain. We see Etana PLC also as gainers. We see Cadbury Nigeria and Zenith Bank PLC complete the gainers list with a collective 96 kobo gain. Conversely, taking a look at our top losers, we see CAP, which is the Chemical and Allied Product PLC, lead the losers chart with a percentage terms of 4.75% to close at 95 naira per share. WAPCO Nigeria PLC, also Guarantee Trust Bank, and the Red Star Express PLC completed the losers chart of 4 with a collective 1 naira 33 kobo loss. We take a look at our market summary today, where we see that the total volume of shares traded increased slightly by 0.15% as investors bought and sold 442 million shares worth 10 billion naira, exchanged hands in 4,948 deals. Now in our foreign, say in the global market, we see that the main stock market indices in the UK started on a mixed footing as investor sentiment still seems to be dampened by concerns of COVID-19 and the Brexit uncertainties. FTSE still managed to keep afloat today with a 0.52% gain, while Asian stock Nikkei and Dow Jones were both down. We see Dow Jones on a 0.39% loss and Nikkei on a 1.04% loss. Now that's all we have on the store market review. It's back to you, Onyi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much for that update, Jerusha. We move on now to the foreign scene, where Cameroon says hundreds of Central African Republic civilians have fled across the border in the past few days to escape election-related violence. Elections will be held in Bangui later this month, and those fleeing into Cameroon say sporadic clashes are already breaking out. Governor of Cameroon's eastern region, Gregor Mvogo, says about 1,000 people have crossed over into Cameroon since Friday to escape violence in the lead-up to the December 27 poll. Mvogo also stated that the situation in the Central African Republic is very troubling and has ordered the military to porous border areas to limit the spillover into Cameroon from the new wave of fighting. Well, it's now time for entertainment reports on News Now.
Nigerian rapper Olanrewaju Ogumefun, popularly known as Vector, and his partner have welcomed the baby girl. The rapper hinted to fans about the baby's arrival via his Twitter page on Monday, where he shared photos of a beautifully sleek hair. Earlier in the month, photos from the baby shower emerged on social media, showing Vector with his partner all loved up in a post. This is Vector's second child, as the rapper already has a daughter from a previous relationship. Congratulations to Vector and his partner on the arrival of their baby. Jude Okoye has gifted himself a mansion for Christmas. Okoye took to his Instagram page on Monday, where he shared photos of his newly built mansion with the caption, "Let's say Xmas gift came early." Okoye's new home is a 2-story glass house with several exquisite features. It has a swimming pool and what seems to be like an elevator. Jude Okoye is the popular video director and brother to music stars and estranged twin brothers Peter and Paul Pisque. Popular American rapper Cardi B has no doubt been very open about her obsession with everything African and has even been known to take on the Nigerian name Chioma, given to her by her fans. The Bodak Yellow crooner recently reinforced her love for Africa after she tried to learn a vital part of the culture, dance. In a new video making the rounds on social media, the singer was seen learning an African dance routine wearing a dance rehearsal costume with the African Ankara material tied around her waist and a matching headgear. And that's all we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
To cap it up in sports, Super Eagles and Leicester City star Wilfred Ndidi is among the 50 most valuable Premier League players, according to the latest ranking by the transfer market. The midfield enforcer, who is into his 5th season at Leicester City, is currently valued at €45 million, making him the most valuable Nigerian player in the English Premier League and by extension the second most valuable Nigerian player behind Napoli striker and compatriot Victor Osimhen. Indeed, his high rating and valuation has to do with his sterling performances for the Foxes since arriving at the King Power Stadium from Belgian side Genk in January 2017. Well, that's the latest update on News Now at this time. We thank you very much for watching. I am Oyi Adekunle. We'll leave you now with further reports. Bye for now.